Welcome to Top Rope Reality, episode 22, part 5. You can see my 5. And we're going to start off part 5 with the question of the week. Well, TNA pretty much going out of business.
If TNA does.
In October.
If they do.
And you were the WWE.
Oh.
And you had the budget, because everybody's worried about budgets now. People getting fired left and right here.
Right.
But if you had the budget, and you could pick up 5 people from TNA, who would you pick up?
If it was me and I was running WWE, which I'm not a McMahon.
If you are the WWE,
the 5 people from the whole roster I would pick up would have to be Samoa Joe,
okay,
Kurt Angle,
okay,
Austin Aries, Jeff Hardy, not Harvey,
Hardy, yes,
and Bobby Roode, because you know it pays to be rude.
It does pay. I like that one. I like the list you got there.
Thank you.
A couple on mine is like what you have there.
Okay.
I would take Austin Aries.
Okay.
I think you work well.
A double. Yes.
I like Bobby Roode. I think that you could really do a lot with Bobby Roode. And for experience, Kurt Angle.
Right. So there's 3.
There's 3. I would take Bully Ray.
Look, there you go.
And I would make him a heel again. I think he would be a great heel.
Right.
And my 5th person I would take from TNA, Dixie Carter.
They did it with Eric Bischoff.
And Paul Heyman.
And Paul Heyman.
I think if they took Dixie Carter, they could make her what she trying to make herself, which is not very good.
Right. They can make her the next Vicky Guerrero since Vicky's gone.
They have the tools to make things work, and I think they can make Dixie work.
Yes, that is true. They are the machine. They can
I wouldn't
push
take
anybody.
Taz. I wouldn't take Mike Tenay or anybody like that.
They got plenty of commentators. I saw the list of them people. My gosh, how many daggone commentators and interviewers they have. Without Josh Matthews, I think it's like over 10 people now.
Without Josh Matthews?
Without Josh Matthews. With NXT, SmackDown, Raw, Main Event, Superstars, backstage interviewers, it's over 10 people.
Wow.
That's ridiculous.
That is a lot. Well, let's now jump ahead to talk about the best of the Great American Bash.
United with Slam. Sorry. It's a good name. I like it.
It is. And it was done quite well.
And guess who's on the cover?
Sting!
Sting!
And guess who's on the back? Sting!
Who's on the cover of the Blu-ray? Anybody?
Blu-ray.
On the actual disc?
No.
Anybody?
No, this says 1 and 2.
Okay.
One's red one.
That's sad.
It is.
Because they usually put people's faces on.
Sometimes.
That would have been awesome.
Sometimes they're kind of cheapy too.
That's true.
But it was a very good DVD.
Okay.
The Blu-ray is two disc Blu-ray.
I'm too cheap. I don't have a Blu-ray yet.
Well, they're not being cheap. It's just
that's cheap.
This Blu-ray has the extras. I like the extras, so that's why I'll try to get the Blu-ray.
Right.
And with the other, you have 3. You have 3 discs, but you don't get the extras.
I've already seen one extra I would not want to watch.
The extra commentating
I think you know which one I'm talking about.
From Dusty Rhodes and Larry Zbyszko. It's very entertaining.
I bet.
The only drawback is some of the music from the early days is not the right music. It's generic music, and you can look and go, that's not for the Road Warriors. That's definitely not Sting's music back then.
They don't have the rights to a lot of WCW music.
One thing they did get right, Flair's. Flair's is right all the way around.
Of course. But I will say this. If you like football players being wrestlers, I know everybody likes Goldberg. But one of the worst wrestlers in the world. He's got a championship belt, but that don't say much because David Arquette was champion.
Yeah, you can't say much about that.
Baltimore, Maryland, June the 16th, 1996. If you get the Blu-ray, you may want to skip it. I'm just saying. When you got Ric Flair and Arn Anderson, 2 of the greatest of all time. 2 of the greatest. Taking on, and I think you saw where I was going with this when I said one of the worst.
Oh, yeah.
Versus Kevin Green and Steve Mongo McMichaels. Horrible.
But you got to wonder why they picked that one.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Because of Flair and Arn?
Or just because it was funny, so they had to put it in there.
Could be. But yeah, if you ain't got this, you ain't picked it up, go to the store and pick it up.
That's right.
Because probably next week, or either next week or the week after, we will be talking about, ladies and gentlemen,
my name
is Paul Heyman.
Exactly. That's going to be a great DVD. If you haven't checked out the online web exclusives, which now, from what I'm hearing, the web exclusives means exactly that. They're exclusives, and that means they won't be on the DVD. And if that's true, then that's sad, because some of them were pretty good. And I'd like for them to go more in depth, but I've heard the Blu-rays are very controversial. The Blu-ray exclusives.
And that may be the ones that showed them.
All I know is he said there's going to be a Blu-ray exclusive that is controversial. So we will see. I love Paul Heyman, and I'm glad they finally got a DVD for another manager. I know they did Bobby the Brain Heenan, and then they did the greatest managers of all time.
Right.
But they don't ever showcase individual managers.
No.
It's sad. But I'm glad Paul Heyman's getting his own.
I am too. Well deserved.
Yes.
Or, speaking of controversy.
Controversy.
Or conspiracies.
Along the same line.
It all follows the same.
It does.
This week's WWE conspiracy theory is there were two.
Not one.
Two Ultimate Warriors.
Where that guy's.
And let's not talk about the Renegade from WCW.
Oh Lord, that's hard.
We are talking about there's two in the WWE. But you had the Ultimate Warrior, the late Ultimate Warrior.
Yes, the late Ultimate Warrior.
Come in the late 80s. And he blew onto the scenes.
And then he went away all of a sudden.
He did
With
go
an
away
abrupt
all of a sudden.
absence in 1991. He had beaten Hogan for the championship just a year earlier at WrestleMania and was said to be the biggest star for years to come. Why would he be taken off TV so abruptly?
I know. Why would
Why?
Such a big. That's like John Cena being
Also
taken
just
going
going
away.
Says fans were shocked at his return at another WrestleMania. What's that? 5, 6, 7, 8. There we
Yes.
go. When he stormed down the aisle to assist his friend and former opponent Hulk Hogan. Something was different though. This man was somewhat less muscular, had much shorter hair.
That's when Sid and Papa Shango were beating on.
Yes.
Okay.
This was not the Warrior that everybody remembered.
No, this is not this person.
Not that guy.
Who was that person? Who was the skinnier?
So they say it must
shorter
be
hair?
a different person. Yes, that's it. The real Warrior must have died, and Vince brought in another look-alike to cash in on the Warrior name.
Well, he has tried that before.
He has done
There
that.
we go. Diesel
and Razor Ramon. So it says the fans would never know the difference. The truth about this one,
stupid, I guess.
that's it.
Stupid.
The truth about this one, though, actually all comes down to money.
Ching 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 ching. Money, 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 money,
The
money.
Warrior tried to strong-arm Vince McMahon out of more money after WrestleMania 6
I remember that.
and threatened to no-show events unless his demands were met. Vince caved initially, but then released him once the events Warrior was promoted for were over. The change in look, you ask? Well, that had to do with the ongoing steroid scandal and a poorly executed haircut.
It was pretty bad.
It was like all
pretty bad.
crop chopped up hair. It was really
terrible.
weird.
Is that one of those fast haircuts? And get out of the chair.
Yes.
But
Yeah,
yes.
he wore the singlet with muscles that
Painted
were
on there?
painted onto the singlet. He was like RVD before RVD ever came around. With the whole
true.
singlet done. And Ryback too. You know, but that was horribly done. But there was not to, and contrary to popular belief, Kerry Von Erich was not ever the Ultimate Warrior.
No.
Always
And the
was Jim
Renegade was a
Hellwig.
WCW knockoff.
Exactly. Even though Eric Bischoff says that it was not a ploy to get Ultimate Warrior to join WCW. I'm sorry, but I call BS on that one.
Yeah. That is the stamp of BS. Yeah,
And
you're
then they
right
say
about
that, you know, unfortunately for the Renegade, once he, I guess, got the de-push-o-matic because Warrior did show up and nobody cared about the Renegade anymore,
No.
he unfortunately committed suicide. I guess he was very, very depressed.
That's pretty bad.
He was very depressed on his push in WCW. From what I have read, unfortunately, he has passed many years ago, and that is unfortunate. He had a good look, though.
Oh, yeah.
He did.
He did.
If they would have gave him a different name, a different attitude, he could have done something. But Jimmy Hart has programmed me to destroy on sight. You know, come on. That's the Ultimate Warrior, buddy.
Yes, that is the Ultimate Warrior.
We're not trying to be the Ultimate Warrior.
Don't care how much you're trying to say it. That's the Ultimate Warrior.
DOS, destroy on sight? No. That is the Ultimate Warrior.
that was owned. One Warrior Nation.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, that's it. That's it for part 5. We'll be back for part 6, where we'll talk a little SummerSlam, what matches are officially made.
Yes.
And
it's
also,
coming along great.
And also, we'll do our new segment, The Year That Was. It'll be 1994. Who remembers 1994? I barely do.
So I was very young. Very, very young.
And we'll talk about all the champions that year, and
we'll give it a grade.
And we'll grade the year.
We're going to give it a grade.
On who the champions were. We'll be right back for part 6 of Tightrope Reality right here on YouTube, episode 22.